just but we have covered almost actually. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Nahmaduhu wa nusalli wa nusallim ala rasulihil kareem amma ba'd. So Imam Shurumbullali's text from now on previously has explained the steps of Hajj and is now just going on to 3 types, which we all know, and then it would just be how we do it. It's actually few liner, very few ruling there that one needs to know. Umrah, as we all know, we have already covered it. So Umrah is the intention to visit the sacred place. You go there, and there are certain requirements, which is to come in the state of ihram, which you have to do before miqat. Once you're there, you just carry on with your rituals of Umrah. Now, according to some Imams, Umrah is wajib. In Hanafi school is Sunnah. That's the most appropriate for you, inshallah ta'ala, in Hanafi school. And you can do any time. It's perfectly fine to do Umrah any time of the year, other than the Hajj day from 9 to 13, because those are the days of Hajj. You should be doing Hajj rituals, not Umrah. In Ramadan, the Umrah is very much more, encouraged. It's much more encouraged than any other time of the year. And how do? You set your 7 rounds, and we have already mentioned in Tawaf. So you have to do your Tawaf and then Sa'i. So 2 arkan of Umrah are 2 rukun, essential parts are: number 1, come in the state of ihram; second is Tawaf. And 2 wajibat are Sa'i, running between Safa and Marwa, and second is shaving the head or trimming it. What is more meritorious? Shaving 3 times over. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam made dua. We've covered all of that. The condition, as you know, is that you have to have the ihram, and you must be, if you're resident in the Makkah, then you have to adopt within the hill, inside the haram. You shouldn't go outside of, you don't need to go out to the miqat. And if you live outside of miqat, then you have to have it before miqat. And you've done that all. And if I just show you again, as we did before, haram is this green one, and the hill is outside of it, which is all around, Makkah, other cities around Makkah. And miqat, we are all people of miqat. We come outside, we call foreigners afaqi. We come from different parts. So depending on where you come in, this boundary is being made by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam with the instruction of Sayyidina Jibreel alayhi salam. It happened, with the instruction, obviously. Okay, so one has to do the ihram from miqat for the outsiders, from hill those who live in Makkah, like not Makkah, outside of Makkah, but within the miqat. So this gray bit. So they don't live here. They don't live in white area. They live in blue area. So that's their miqat, hill. And then for people living in Makkah, that's their miqat. So that is why when you come from here, there was a question that someone asked when they were in Hajj this time. So what do they do for their ihram of Umrah? Because they now come out of Umrah ihram, and they have to do on 8th the ihram of Hajj. Which miqat should they go? You don't need to go to any miqat boundary. You are now in Makkah, and you are considered to be Makki. So you have Makkah as your ihram point. You put your ihram on 8th in Makkah. And then do how you make the dua and you do. So I wouldn't go through that. We've covered that before. 7 rounds, and you just finish off with your 8 istilam. Bismillah, Allahu Akbar, Alhamdulillah, kissing the hand, or if you could kiss the black stone, even more important. And having some, zamzam, doing 2 nafil, 2 rakat, which is nafil, but actually is wajib al-tawaf. For wajib of tawaf, it's a must. You have to do those 2 rakat. Now, if it is after Asr time, then it is not allowed to do 2 rakat other than Fard prayer, after Asr prayer. Then you do after Maghrib. So it on its own, it is wajib, but la wajib li ghayri. That is why it has the hukum of nafil, other than wajib. So you have to do it, but you still take the ruling of nafil. So the time where you cannot do nafil, like after Fajr prayer until sun has risen, or after Asr prayer until sun has set, then you can't do these 2 rakat. And it is always good to do first rakat with Qul Ya Ayyuhal Kafirun, second with Qul Huwallahu Ahad, as you do in the 2 rakat of ihram as well. So 3 types, as you know, Qiran, Tamattu, and Ifrad. The Qiran, when you combine the two together in same ihram, within one ihram, you do the intention of Umrah and then Hajj. You do not come out of ihram. You stay in ihram for whole period. And obviously, since you have 2 ihram, if you've done any jinayah, any mistakes or serious ones, then you have to put the double penalty. So if you have done something that would make you responsible to pay a penalty of a cow or goat, then you would have to do 2 because you are in the state of ihram and you've got 2 penalties every time. Okay, so be very careful about that when you do Qiran. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam performed Qiran. That is why Hanafis considered Qiran to be the best of the 3 types. Some Imams have different view, obviously, and they have their reasons as well. Anyway, you do the Umrah. As you enter Makkah with Ihram, you do your Tawaf Qudum, which is Sunnah, it's not wajib. But you do go there, do a Tawaf, that is, your greeting, Haram. In Haram, by the way, Tahiyatul Masjid, Masjid Haram's Tahiyya is Tawaf. So you do not do 2 rakat, you rather just go straight to Tawaf. So that's a Tahiyya for Haram. Tawaf Qudum, some Imam consider it to be wajib. Shafi, for example, we consider it to be Sunnah. You can do it. And then after that, settle yourselves and then do your Umrah, which is the first 7, and then you have to do Sa'i. So there are 2 Sa'is. For Qarin, there are 2 Sa'is. Okay. And Imam Shafi says the Ifrad is superior. Imam Malik says Tamattu is better than Qiran. Imam Ahmad has the same view as well, and this is based on Quran. Okay, once you've done that, you do not come out of Ihram and you stay, and on 8th, you just go for your Yawm Tarwiyah in Mina. Then next morning after 5 prayer to Arafat. Yes, on 9th, stay until Maghrib. That night you spend in Muzdalifah. After Fajr next morning, you go back to Mina, stoning the big Jamara, 7 stones, Tawaf Ziyarah, get your animal slaughtered. After that, shave your hair or trim it out of Ihram. Once you've done your Tawaf Ziyarah, you can do Tawaf Ziyarah anytime from 10th onwards. And then you come back, stay in Mina that night. Next morning, go and stone all 3, come back. Next morning, go all 3, come back. The next day, you have choice, the 3rd day, which is actually the 4th day of stoning. Either do all 3 or none, but you have to leave Makkah then. Once you've left Makkah, you go to do your final Tawaf, which is Tawaf-e-Wada. If you've done your Tawaf-e-Wada, your Hajj is completed. Okay. So this is what you do with Quran. This is what you do with Tamattu. The only difference would be that between Umrah and Hajj, you have 2 ihrams for Tamattu. For Quran, one same ihram, you do not come out of that. You stay in the same way. So this is what they say. Tamattu means to take some luxury, allowance, having benefit. And most people do this, and most Sahaba did that. Rasulullah ﷺ ordered them to do it because it's easy. You don't want to take too much stress, especially when people just go once in a lifetime and they're not used to any hardship anyway. So leave it that way, inshallah. So exactly the same, other than the fact that you come out of your ihram after your umrah. And ifrad is when you just do only hajj, no umrah, nothing. Straight to haram on the Eid, on the 8th of Dhul Hijjah, Mina, Muzdalifah, you done your bits. You know the way the Hajj days are done from 8th to 13th. You just do that. So that is, the ifrad is only permissible for local people, according to Hanafis. You know, in and around Makkah. Not for us. We can't do ifrad unless we settle there or we are there. And final point is that for Qiran and Tamattu, you have to have Dam Shukr, which is slaughtering a portion of a cow or a camel or a goat or a sheep. You have to do that. You have to do that. And for Ifrad, you don't have to unless you want to, as a voluntary. Is that clear? So that's Hajj. So you know all 3 types. You've gone through all of them before. Since they've had that, yes, I will whiz through that and talk about something else which just came to my mind at that point. Is that okay? Any questions? Jazakallahu khair. So next week